and how we understand a biological family, and they say, oh, blood's thicker than water, and I say, hey, spirit's thicker than blood, because we have these clans that, we come down here with. And that is someone that you have history with, experiences with, that have been easy, and that you sort of have this mutual understanding, as I said, and unconditional love and connection, a great connection that will get you through anything. And that's what we call a soulmate, someone you have history with.
Do you recognize a soulmate once you come into their company?
Yes.
You automatically...
Yes, because you recognize their spirit. You recognize the spirit emanates from the body inside out, like our electromagnetic force, yes, or our aura, whatever you want to call it. And so it's an immediate connection.
Here's a point, Michelle.
I'm listening.
You are now with somebody, or you might be even married to somebody. And like you say, this person have been attached through some negative karma.
Yes.
You made a bad decision. But, you're married and you're going to make the best of it, because your church teaches you that marriage is forever. It's a covenant between you, that person, and God, so on and so forth. And while you may be traveling or somewhere in a job and so whatever, you come across a person that the moment you see him or her, you know that is the one.
Well, some people call that...
love at first sight.
Yeah, love at first sight, which some people say, oh, that's just a bunch of, crap. But the truth is that you immediately connect with that person, and you feel that love, and you recognize them, and I've seen this many times, not only men and women say, that's the woman I'm going to marry, and people that know them think, have you lost your mind? You don't know this person, but they do. They do know the spirit, and that's the connection. That's what I'm talking about.
But you don't advise that a person who is in a committed relationship should sever that relationship and move on to this soulmate, the one who, quote, was designed by God, created by God.
Well, we have more than one soulmate, thank God. We have more than one soulmate, because if we only had one, I think a lot of us would be in trouble. So we have more than one. And we also have what we refer to as kindred spirits, where you have like lessons to learn or karma to complete. And sometimes we are with a person even though we're not going to continue to be with them for the rest of our life, though the church teaches that it could be an abusive relationship, physically or emotionally, but there was a lesson there for them to learn, maybe about forgiveness or giving their power to someone else, control or abandonment, death. These are very difficult lessons for the human beings to learn. So sometimes that relationship is necessary for their soul to grow and evolve and go on to the next level.
Clairvoyance. What is that? What is the difference, if there is any?
There is. There's clairaudio, clairvoyance, telepathic, empathic. I mean, there's so many different names, and it just really goes back to this, to simplify it. Seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting, knowing, but on a higher level.
Right. Not
the lower self, the God part self. And so that means you can hear spirit, you can see spirit in your mind, you can feel spirit, you know the truth, you don't have to think about it and analyze it. So this is what I mean by, clairaudio is your hearing spirit, clairvoyance is your communicating, speaking back and forth, and seeing, getting visuals, getting information. Different mediums work in different ways. As I said, I was able to equally develop these senses, so that just allows me a greater connection, more information. And you might want to tell your listeners out there, Jeff, you know me, that I don't edit the information.
Oh, yes. Well, we understand that very clearly. In other words, folks, if you're not prepared to hear the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, don't bother to call, because it's straight up and down, exactly as Michelle sees it, she gets it, is exactly the way you're going to get it. So
that's right.
And I, of course, you remember what Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. What do you see for the Bahamas, Michelle? Where are we in terms of what we are supposed to be doing according to God's plan for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas?
Well, you're in a process of transition, of changing, kind of coming out of this very strict doctrine, this dogmatic religion. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just simply saying that you have outgrown it, and people are now looking for the truth, something that is, let's say, stepping outside of your box and expanding, growing, learning, being open. And so that's good. That means change is growth, and that's where the Bahamas is that people are starting to realize there's something more. There's some pieces missing that they weren't given, and some things that were added to that they shouldn't have had. And you understand that by knowing,
yes,
how the Bible, through the translations that's been lost, the languages, and also the interpretation. You can have 5 people read the same scripture, the same Psalms, let's say, and they'll interpret it 5 different ways.
Yes.
And not to mention that it's been added to and taken away. So, you have to be open with that. That's a great text, sacred book, but there are others as well. And there have been many great, wonderful light workers and teachers here. So the Bahamas is in that transition just like the rest of the world, in that sense, spiritually speaking.
You mentioned as a matter of fact, this coming Saturday, tomorrow again at Unity, you are going to do a seminar, a lecture on the journey of the soul.
Yes.
Now, that confuses people. When you say the journey of the soul, does the soul travel?
Yes.
Does the soul grow? Does it develop?
Yes.
I thought that spirit was immortal, that it was unchanging, it was permanent.
We change, because as we go through different experiences in lives, not only here on this creation, this planet that God created, but there are other places that God created, as well as in the higher realms, the heavens. There are different levels. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to strive and grow and learn and evolve and come to that higher, that Christ consciousness, that the grace of God willingly, not because somebody's shoving it down your throat or someone has a gun to your head, but because you get it. You know that, as you said, the truth sets you free. What comes around goes around, like the law of karma. It's very simple. Every choice has a consequence, and you have to answer for that consequence and live with that.
Thought-wise, decision-wise, every choice.
Every choice, everything.
The issues that affect you. No punches pulled, no holds barred. Real Talk Live with Jeff Lloyd, only on the Bahamas Superstation.